The wine glass explodes against the hardwood floor, a sharp crystalline cry slicing through the polite murmur of conversation. I freeze, pulse hammering, as the chatter dies. Every face turns toward me. At the head of the table, Claire stands rigid, her expression controlled but seething. Her voice is quiet when she speaks, every word precise and venom-laced. You don't deserve to be here. The words hit harder than the sound of breaking glass. Around us, her friends, her people, not mine, shift in their seats. Forks scrape awkwardly against plates. Eyes drop to napkins. I want to speak, to fight back, to ask what she means, but my throat closes up. I can only stand there, pinned in place by her contempt. I never wanted to come to this dinner. The night had been off from the start. Wrong note, wrong rhythm. Claire had been distant all week, her smiles brittle, her touch perfunctory. I'd told myself she was just tired, that her new promotion and endless work calls were wearing her thin. She said it was just work, brushing me off with a forced grin, and I chose to believe her. After 10 years together, suspicion felt like betrayal. But tonight, as I watched her in our cramped kitchen, obsessing over table settings with near-manic focus, unease crept in. I joked, "Why don't we ever invite my friends?" For a split second, something dark flickered in her eyes before she turned away. "They wouldn't fit in," she said flatly. I laughed it off, but the words stayed lodged in my chest. Now, surrounded by the wreckage of the evening, the smell of roasted garlic and expensive wine feels suffocating. Across the table, Elise twists a napkin to shreds, refusing to meet my eyes. Mark, her colleague, the one always too close, sits back with a faint smirk, something gleaming in his look that makes my stomach knot. I push the napkin aside, my palms slick. "Claire." I manage, my voice shaking. "What's going on?" She doesn't answer. Instead, she turns back to her guests with a mechanical smile. "Let's not ruin the evening," she chirps, brittle and bright. The others murmur half-hearted agreement, pretending to relax, though their glances stab at me like needles. I stumble out, the hallway feeling too narrow, the air too thick. Outside, the autumn wind bites at my face as I lean against the brick wall, breath clouding in the cold. My mind reels, replaying the last few months, her distance, her secretive phone calls, the way she recoiled when I reached for her hand. I told myself not to worry, that I was imagining things. But deep down, I knew. 2 weeks ago, I'd seen a text on her phone. "Can't wait to see you. Signed simply, M." She said it was Mark, arranging something for work. I nodded, pretending to believe her. She was Claire, my Claire, who left corny love notes on the fridge and teared up during movies. She wasn't capable of deceit. Or so I thought. My phone vibrates in my pocket. My heart jumps. Maybe it's her, maybe an apology, an explanation. But it isn't. It's Elise. "Meet me at the coffee shop on 5th. Now." I stare at the message, confusion twisting into dread. Elise has never texted me before. Why now? A few minutes later, I'm pushing open the door of the coffee shop, its neon sign flickering weakly above. The smell of burnt espresso and wet coats fills the air. Elise sits tucked into a corner booth, her coat still on, hands clasped around her phone. When she looks up, her eyes are red-rimmed. "I'm sorry," she blurts out, voice trembling. "I didn't know how to tell you." My pulse pounds. "Tell me what?" I ask, though part of me already knows. She slides her phone across the table. On the screen, a photo glows. Claire, my wife, is laughing, her hand resting on Mark's arm. They are in a bar, close, comfortable, oblivious. And in that instant, everything I'd been refusing to see finally comes into focus. The light in the photo is dim, intimate. The timestamp reads last night, the same night Claire told me she had to work late. I stare at the image until my eyes blur. "There's more," Elise murmurs, her voice trembling. She swipes to the next picture. Claire and Mark are closer now, faces almost touching. My chest tightens as though someone's forcing the air from my lungs. "Why are you showing me this?" My voice comes out hoarse, angry. Elise flinches, her hands twisting together. "Because I saw them," she says quietly. "Last week. At his apartment. I was dropping off some files. They didn't know I was there." Her words land like blows. One after another, harder each time. I want to call her a liar, to deny everything. But the photos don't lie. The look on Claire's face, the way her hand rests on his arm, it all says enough. I don't even remember leaving the cafe, but suddenly I'm outside. The cold wind stings my face. My mind churns, rage, heartbreak, disbelief all colliding. I think of Claire at dinner, her cutting remarks in front of her friends. Was that guilt or her way of pushing me away? I want to confront her, to shout, to beg her to say it's not true. But deep down, I already know. The warning signs were there. The late nights. The distance. The way she stopped saying I love you first. I'd ignored them, clung to a version of her that no longer existed. When I finally reach the apartment, everything feels heavy. The dinner's over. The guests gone. The table's still a mess of plates and wine glasses. Claire's in the kitchen, scrubbing a pan with sharp, angry motions. She doesn't even glance up. We need to talk, I say, my voice calm though my insides are chaos. She freezes, hands submerged in soapy water. About what? She asks, too light, too guarded. I hold out my phone, the photos filling the screen. For a second, her face collapses before she forces it back into something hard and cold. It's not what it looks like, she says, but her voice shakes, and that's all the answer I need. Then what is it? I shout. Because it looks like you're in love with someone else. The words cut deep. Her silence cuts deeper. She sets the pan down, her hands trembling. When she finally looks at me, her eyes glisten, not with sorrow, but with defiance. You've been gone for months, she snaps. You don't even see me anymore. The accusation hits harder than I expect. For a moment, I waver. Had I been absent? The long work hours, the arguments we let fade, the growing distance I thought we could fix, it all flashes through my mind. But none of it excuses this. The room feels smaller, suffocating. We stand there, two people who used to love each other, now strangers. I saw you, I say, voice cracking. Elise showed me everything. Claire's eyes widen. For the first time, I see fear, fear of being exposed. It was a mistake, she whispers. But it's too late. The truth hangs between us, raw and unforgiving. It's not just about Mark anymore. It's about everything we lost without realizing it. I turn toward the door, my heart splintered, but her voice stops me. I'm pregnant, she says, barely audible. I freeze. Slowly, I turn. Her eyes are filled with tears, pleading. And in that instant, a new, cruel question replaces all the others. Whose child is it? The uncertainty cuts deeper than any betrayal ever could.